Mochi Health is a long-term weight loss solution personalized to fit your unique needs and goals. Meet one-on-one with board-certified obesity doctors and registered dietitians who are on a mission to listen. Eligible patients can access custom-formulated GLP-1 medications at an affordable, set price and get them delivered to their home each month. No insurance required, FSA and HSA accepted. With 24/7 customer service available, Mochi Health is here to partner with you on your journey to a healthier life. Take the free quiz at joinmochi.com and use code AUDIO40 at checkout for $40 off your first month of membership. That's joinmochi.com.
On average, you'll have to wait 31 days to see an OBGYN. And if you're dealing with an infection or outbreak, you know you need care fast. That's where WISP comes in. Connect with a U.S. licensed provider online and pick up safe, effective treatment at your local pharmacy that same day. Plus, get birth control and more delivered in all 50 states. Take control with comprehensive sexual and reproductive care, all from your phone. WISP. That's hellowisp.com. The waiting room can wait.
Welcome back to another episode of Investies. I'm your host, Linda Garcia. Investies, I'm so excited to bring you a very special episode today. A couple of weeks ago, I went to Grand Rapids, Michigan. I sat down with Shannon Cohen, who is the founder of Rockstar Woman Movement. Such a great organization and a great event. We talked about all things investing as well as my personal journey with money wounds. One of the special parts of this event is that we got to answer questions from the audience. I had the pleasure of answering these questions. I'm so excited to share this interview with you today. Thanks to everyone that came and enjoyed the event with us in person. And thank you all for listening to today's episode. I'm going to hand it over to Shannon, who is going to introduce me on stage.
And so as I thought about our guest for today, who I had a chance to sit and have dinner with yesterday, I was like, one of the rock stars said, I knew she was my kind of girl when on the cover of her book, she's rocking a Coogee, got a stack in her hand and some forces. She was like, I belong here. This is my kind of girl. And she was telling me how there's another mantle that she is walking in, y'all. She is a freshman of the year in the House of Representatives for the state of Texas. And she was talking about how she had I don't know if it was someone bringing some energy to another campaign, let's just say it like that tried to weaponize the cover of her book against her. And so she said, you know what I did? She said, I took the image, I blew it up, I put it on t-shirts and put the word vote underneath. And so if you have ever had someone try to weaponize one of your identities to discredit or disqualify you from promotion, you are in the right place. And then she went on to talk about how her heart beats for making conversations about the stock market approachable, accessible, and giving people cheat codes. Because one of the things that she talked about is that the stock market is a language like golf and like other things. And it's a language that people use to keep some out and some in. And in a K economy, which I don't know if y'all have heard, I've been studying this thing about a K economy. If you think about the letter K, and we're living in a K economy, which means those that are at the top are getting higher and those that are below are getting closer to pain, we need this kind of content so we can lift leadership lids and we can grow. But here's the last thing that I really knew. I was like, this is right. She was talking about her shift to being in political office and how 25 years ago, somebody asked her to run and she said no. And then she said, and then 5 years ago, that same opportunity came back. And she was like, it was almost like this divine call. And I decided to stop hanging up on God and decided to answer the call. And now on Monday, she's having her first re-election campaign event. And so super excited for her. So I lift all of that to say that today, y'all, is community, is care. I can't touch everybody individually, but at your table, check in on a rock star, because just because she's here, she's smiling and she matching and she ate her cake, it don't mean she's all right. Right? She knows how to stay put together and not publicly collapse, because she does not get that luxury. But today is a day of content that I hope will lift our leadership, Liz. It'll close knowledge gaps. Because one thing Linda said to me, and then I'm going to bring her up, she said, for a long time, I was praying for about money. I was praying for wealth. I was praying for increase. And she said, one day I just decided to do something about it, and I started to study. And I said to her, I said, yeah, because I'm in a season of my life where I want to be an answer to somebody's prayer when it comes to people needing capital. And so will y'all help me give a full rock star in Michigan to a Texan girl that can rock Coogis and also be in the House of Representatives, Linda Garcia. So we decided, y'all, to have a little bit of a fireside chat so we can, you all have been sending us questions, text your questions, because I want us to ask as many questions as possible. But if y'all are all right, we're going to dive right into it. Linda, do you want to say any way of greeting first?
I just want to say hello to everyone today. You all are, I can just feel the energy. I felt the energy all the way from yesterday as I was headed on my way here. One of the things that I practice when I'm about to speak to women is to pray for the space before I even get there. And I could already feel you all. And just having dinner with you yesterday was such an important moment, because it was the first moment since we were released out of session that I took for myself. And I didn't realize you were going to take us to church this morning. But as I was sitting there, I am the person that looks like I have it all together, and I'm going through it, okay? And so getting the opportunity to be here with you all today is truly recharging in a way that my bed and my couch cannot do. And so thank you so much for having me here today. I want you to know that I am in complete gratitude, and I can feel the intention that you've placed behind this, and I can see why this is your 7-year anniversary. And I see this growing, I think, bigger than what you can imagine. So just thank you for continuously coming up and showing up for community and bringing us together.
I appreciate you, sis. Thank you. Bless me.
This MailChimp-verific jingle is brought to you by MailChimp.
MailChimp, your marketing with AI and more. Advanced automations to connect to your store. MailChimp, your marketing and boost your clicks. Multi-channel campaigns now with SMS. That's lit.
MailChimp your marketing today with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-on. Visit MailChimp.com.
All right, are y'all ready to dive in? Y'all taking notes? Y'all ready? Here we go. The pantry method.
Yes.
Talk to the rock star that's like, okay, I want to be a wealth warrior. Yes. I've only been taught about a checking account, a savings account, and I may only have $200 of flexible capital right now to start to even approach stocks.
Yes.
How should we begin?
Okay, so here's what I want to share with you first. I first started investing back in January of 2013. Back in 2012, in about August of 2012, I had a colleague at Netflix, I used to work at Netflix, that asked me to start buying Netflix stock. I was so intimidated by this conversation. I would get really uncomfortable every time he would come to my cubicle and try to talk me into investing. I was like, why does this guy care? Very annoyed with him, but simultaneously, I had just broken a really important financial goal in my life. I was making $100,000 a year. And prior to that, I was making $13 an hour. So this was a big jump. I was 32 years old at the time. So at 31, I was making $13 an hour, breaking through Hollywood industry. I was working at Lionsgate.
I got the job at Netflix. They started me off at $75,000. Within 2 months, I gave myself a $25,000 raise. I learned how to do that via the deck that they give us at Netflix, which was another story in and of itself. But I was working in this time to really generate money in my life, because up until then, $13 an hour at 31 years old is unacceptable. And I had to take accountability for what I was experiencing in my life. Yes, I was chasing my dreams. Yes, I was doing incredible things. I was part of a team that created the very first Hollywood Latino movie studio for Lionsgate. But come on, $13 an hour?
In LA.
In LA. I had 2 roommates. I was living like I was in college. It was unacceptable. And so I had to take accountability for where I was in life. And instead of placing blame outward, I had to really understand that I had attracted this experience, that somewhere deep down inside, I believed that I was deserving of $13 and nothing else. And so as I really began to reflect on this and pay more attention and become more conscious and deep dive into how white men developed generational wealth, how they became wealthy, I started to understand that it starts with our mindset. It does not matter how much financial literacy you take in. If you are not in the proper mindset to receive and cultivate money, then you will not receive and cultivate money. End of story, point blank. And so I really had to face that within myself. So I'm making $100,000 an hour. I'm sorry. Whoa, that was okay.
Okay. I'm like, wait, talk on it then. Okay.
A year. And my colleague, I'm praying to be able to take care of this money. I didn't want it to just disappear from, I wanted to be able to make it grow. And I'm praying for that. And then I have this colleague that is pestering me about investing in the market. And it took me a moment. Well, actually, it didn't even dawn on me until he got very frustrated that it had been months and I still hadn't purchased Netflix stock, that he showed me his portfolio. And he showed me $1 million portfolio. And I was like, we wasted 6 months. Like, why didn't you? This is where we should have started, And so immediately I started to invest, and I decided to invest $200 a month, which I'm making $100,000 a year, $200 a month. That was a lot for me. It really was, because I didn't want to let go of a penny. I was so deep in money scarcity at this time that I didn't even invest into a 401k that matched 8%. I couldn't do that because I had been living off of $13 an hour that I thought, no, every penny needs to be with me. I cannot let go of any penny. And so the $200 was a big deal. I did that every month continuously for 12 months. I saw my money double, and I was so shocked by this place in the world that could multiply money without putting in any effort. I had been so conditioned to work extremely hard. I watched my mom work 4 jobs that I thought that in order to acquire money, you had to work really hard. It was beyond me that you just had to work really smart. And part of it is not even working at all. It's putting your money to work. So I decided I'm doubling my investment. $400 a week, let's go. That felt easy the first month, but the second month, when I'm looking back and like, dang, last month 400, this month 400, next month 400, that's a car payment. I'm making a mistake, but I continued and was like, I'm going to be diligent and I'm going to be patient. $400 a month, the stock market didn't do anything. I didn't lose money. I didn't make money. At the time, the shares were $50. In January, come January, they were $50 again. It taught me a lot about being patient and that not every month I'm gonna double up my money. It's not gonna be a 50% increase. It may not be an increase at all. I did this for the time that I was working at Netflix. I invested a total over the course of time of $9,000. In 8 years, those $9,000 turned into $500,000. And then, I mean, it's a big deal, right? And then, the stock at the time when it turned into $500,000 was $400 a share. My first share I bought was $23 a share. So it went up to $400 a share. And now the stock is at $1,230 a share. And from that investment, I took money out and I bought a house. From that investment, I purchased other stocks. I just continued to make that money multiply. $9,000 planted that seed. $9,000 put a roof over my head. It gave me a book. And if it wasn't for all of those things, I would have never been asked to become a Texas state representative. It was all of that work that got me to the place where I am right now. And so it was really important for me to share what I had learned in the process of investing and share this space that has its unique language. And I wanted to share it in a way that all of us could understand. And I felt like it's very easy to understand when I looked at it from the perspective in which I looked at it. I'm a natural storyteller. I worked in film. I went to school for marketing. And so I enjoyed telling a story. And I thought this place is like a market. We don't call it stock market for nothing. It is truly like a market. You go into the market, you make purchases, and it's very much like a grocery store. There's different aisles in the grocery store. You have a technology aisle, you have a real estate aisle. You have a healthcare aisle. You have these different sectors in which you can invest in. And you should purchase some of those sectors to stock your pantry at home. And so this is where the question comes from, is this pantry analogy that I came up with, where for people that are that have an endless amount of money, let me give you the stats first. Yes, this is very important for us to understand. In the United States of America, 15% of the people in the United States of America are invested in the stock market. 15% of Americans are invested in the stock market. A lot of people think that because they have a 401k or they have a mutual fund, they are invested in the stock market. That's a lie. You're invested into whatever fund is managing those shares. You are not a direct owner of a stock if the only thing you have is a 401k and a mutual fund. And that is okay that we need to be participating in those things, but we also need to be participating in the ownership of the United States of America. Investing in the United States of America is one of the most important investments we can all make. And only 15% of us are making that investment. Those 15%, they are the top 10% most wealthiest people in this country. So only the top 10%. They own 90% of all American shares. This means that we are not where we need to be as a community for all of the 85% that are not participating. We are participating in consumerism, which is making the top 10% even richer and richer and richer. And we need to be participating in ownership. And so when I talk about a pantry, it's very different from the way a financial advisor that is managing millions or the top 10%'s money. It's a very different approach that I have. It's a very practical approach on how we can participate. I like to say that we shouldn't be investing unless we have many years of experience under our belt. But to start with, we shouldn't be investing in more than 3 publicly traded companies. And I think that as a beginner, we should participate in 1 publicly traded company. And a lot of financial advisors at the very top that manage millions will tell you that's a mistake because you're invested in only 1 company and the risk for that. Yeah, but we don't have the budget to diversify. And this is what I mean when I say this. I want you to look at the stock market as if we're looking at a pantry and there is a canister. And I'm telling you, only fill 3 canisters, 3 publicly traded companies in this pantry. And so, because I'm a Latina, the first thing I think of is rice and beans, and then tortillas, because that's all we need to survive on is rice, beans, and tortillas. So in 1 canister where I'm going to place my rice, I look at each grain of rice as a share. Each grain of rice is 1 share that I'm going to put into that canister. In another canister, 1 bean is equivalent to 1 share. And then, 1 tortilla. A lot of the times when people begin to invest, they want to buy everything. They just want to get into everything. And then you have 1 grain of rice, 1 bean, 1 tortilla, 1 spaghetti strand. Like, what is that really going to do? What are you building? You're not building anything. And so you need to just, with the budget that we have, which for most of us, it's not multi-millions of dollars to invest or hundreds of thousands or even billions. It's a minimal budget. And so for me, that's 3 companies. I'm building up my canister 1 share at a time if I need to, or multiple shares at a time if I can. And so the idea of the pantry is that in the future, you will be able to use what is in the pantry to serve your family a feast. And that is what I've been able to participate in, is serving my family a feast. And one that continues to grow and continues to multiply despite my activity or inactivity in the market. And so that's
so good. Okay, so good. So good.
Paradise is back
It's finally here.
in a new location, Costa Rica. There will be adventure, drama, and romance,
All gas, no brakes, that's my vibe.
Ready to find some love.
but it wouldn't be paradise without surprises along the way.
These kids need to learn.
That's right, your favorite Golden alums are crashing the beach,
We bringing the party, baby.
Bachelor in Paradise, new Mondays at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
So what I know, I'm looking at your faces. I see thoughts. I see ahas. I see some oh my's. I see questions. And we're going to just flow through the room and start to ask questions, because I guarantee if it's on your mind, it is on the mind of someone else. As we're going, I'm going to ask you one of the questions that came in. And this is actually from one of our virtual members, Dr. Darla Bishop. She said, Linda, I'm building something monumental with a public health inspired financial literacy movement she started for children. She said, it's joyful, but it's heavy because I know I'm carrying something bigger than myself. What practices have helped you stay grounded while holding space for a vision you want to outlive you?
I love this question. This is something that I'm practicing more and more as the velocity increases, because that's what begins to happen as we are building something, especially with intention, especially when it carries so much weight. The velocity of it increases. And I think life teaches us that as the velocity increases, it's almost like it gets lighter. It's heavier in the beginning, but now you have the velocity pushing from behind. So the weight of it will get lighter. What begins to become very important and critical, I think, to the success of anything that you are building with weight is that you not look too far into the future, and that you eventually get to the place, and I know this is going to sound crazy, but you will eventually get to the place where you are only thinking of what you will do in the next hour, and tomorrow does not matter. I have begun operating like that for almost a year and a half, where now, even if I'm being asked a question and it pertains to next week, I have someone that is going to help answer that question for me, and that question will not be brought to me until it is time for me to execute it. It is because everything I am working on is so heavy that if I begin to think of all the things I have to carry and execute in even just 1 week, I will get crushed. There is something to be said about operating in the present moment. There is nothing but pain in the past, and there is anxiety in the future. And so it is so much more efficient and effective if we are powering our brains on a moment-to-moment basis.
So good. I want to try to hit these, Linda, in like rapid fire so we can, because they're flowing. Here we go. Are y'all with me? Y'all buckled in? Here we go. The first question is, what platform do you use to get started? I'm ready to start with my rice, beans, and tortillas pantry. And the question is, what platform do I use? I do not know where to begin.
Okay, so it's very important that you go to an A+ credential brokerage account. It is going to be very tempting to do something that maybe it's like a newly found brokerage that is ran by a woman, or Robinhood that is very accessible, but it also gamifies and uses people of color in ways that is not positive for us to be utilized. So it's really important that when we begin investing, we start to think about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is this: money needs to be FDIC insured, and we want to make sure that our money is with a reputable company that in the event that something happens in the future, a massive crisis, that where our money is does not collapse. Can it collapse? Anything can happen, but we need to make sure that we're investing in an A+ brokerage account that has stood the test of time, that we know is going to be supported by the people that support those industries, which a lot of the times is, if ever, it is not us. So with that, I mean something like E-Trade or Fidelity. Fidelity has fractional shares, E-Trade does not. I get into what that is specifically in my book as well.
Get the book. Yes, ma'am. Get the book. Here's the next one. With the current administration, how safe is it to start investing?
Let me tell you right now, it's even safer than it was in the past administration. I'm going to tell you right now. Because this administration is very wrapped up in what happens in the stock market. Can we just process that real quick? It is very important for this administration for the stock market to succeed. And so it is safer now, in my opinion, than it was in the last administration.
How do you talk to the Rockstar that feels like, okay, I have money wounds and now I'm in midlife and I need to start, but I'm an older adult? How do I get started? Where do I start?
Honestly, it is just starting. It's just getting started. I don't think that being older should be something that stops you. I think it should be something that propels you into getting started. The issue that we really need to understand is that we are currently losing money with our funds in a savings account, or even in a money market account, or even in a high yield savings account. We're losing money because of inflation. And our goal should always be to preserve the money that we currently have. And preserving it no longer means putting it in a savings account where you're getting an interest rate on it. It means investing those funds. There's only 3 ways in this country to build generational wealth, and that is by investing in real estate, by investing in ourselves, becoming an entrepreneur, and by investing in the stock market. Those are the only 3 ways that we can build true generational wealth in this country. Not even someone that wins $1 million in the lottery will sustain generational wealth. They're not able to preserve it. They might have been able to receive it, which is why they did, but they don't have the money mindset to be able to preserve.
You talk about this in the book, but this question is, can you make recommendations based on what you have researched of which companies or industries to invest in order to build up my pantry? Like, how do you decide where to invest? Where do you start your research?
Yes. This is going to be very basic. It is not looking for a needle in a haystack. A lot of the times when we think about an investment, we're thinking about what's that one thing we're going to find that's going to make us a millionaire. That's not the right approach. That is stay away from that approach. What you want to invest in is what your household is dependent on, what your neighbor's household is dependent on, what the city down an hour away is dependent on, what the state next door is dependent on. You want to invest in what the United States of America is dependent on. And that is not hard to find. It is easy to find because you walk into those stores at least once a week. You order from them at least once a week. You have them inside your home. Here's the thing. A lot of people tell me, I am so afraid to invest in the market. I was too, clearly. I was terrified. But let me tell you, no one goes into the Apple store to go get their new Apple phone and stands there and says, I don't know if I should buy this phone. It might be risky. This is a really big risk. You would never say that. Never. You know what that phone can do. You know that it has the ability to power you. You can start an entire business. You can start an entire movement from your cell phone. You know what that cell phone is worth and the potential that it has. And so why would you not apply that same perspective to the company that owns that phone and develops that phone and sells you that phone?
So good. Keep them coming, y'all. Okay, yes. Oh, that's a good one. I'm coming to that one next. Here's the question. I am not debt free. So how do I navigate investing even at a starting point when I am not debt free?
I love this question so much. So what? America is not debt free.
Okay, right.
Is that stopping America from investing in America? Can't invest. We're in debt. No, you know what we do? Pedal to the metal. We got to invest more. I know that there's a lot of folks in the finance industry that have degrees and know a lot more than I do that will tell you you must get out of debt before you begin investing. I think that is the biggest, it's not conducive to the conversation. It's not helpful to the conversation. It is so important for us to let go of that idea. Investing is investing in yourselves. When we hear someone say, pay yourself first, that's what they mean. Paying yourself I used to think paying myself first was like, go buy a pair of shoes. It's not that. But paying yourself first is investing. It is investing and making sure that we are multiplying those funds. That is what it is. And we can have this and that. We can continue to have goals to pay off our debt, and we can also preserve the funds that are coming in, because nobody wants to spend their entire lifetime just grinding for the debt.
Yeah. So good. This question is, have you ever leveraged AI to make financial or stock buying decisions?
I have not yet leveraged AI to do that, but I have leveraged AI to do so many other things in my life, like build an audio vision board and help me understand what my deep down goals are. I have leveraged AI for so many other things that I do anticipate the time in a future where we will do that. But I think that's not going to come for me until we have an AI agent. So that's the next step. Right now we have AI that we're using to ask questions. And the next step is going to be an actual agent. This agent is going to, based on the way you train, the way you think you're risk averse, it's going to be able to make financial decisions for you. So being able to tell it, manage this money for me in XYZ way, and I will probably be eager to test that.
All right, we're in like a 2-minute speed round. Here we go, y'all. How do you think about ethical considerations? For example, not wanting to support companies whose founders you don't want to support, and the person said, like Amazon?
Yes. This is a really important question as well, and you are probably not going to like the answer to this. There are founders across this country that we consume on a daily basis that you have no idea how they feel or think about you. You have no idea how they feel or think about you. Are some of our founders more polarizing, and are we hearing from them? Yes, absolutely. And there's something really important I want to share. It is so important to not pass judgment, most especially as people of color, on what our fellow people of color are investing into. I hold a very safe space in my community that we do not do that. Because sometimes in our households, we have known to go extremes because we don't get the opportunities, we do not have the resources, we are kept out of spaces, and there are things we have to do to make money. I watched my mom work a night shift at a factory, make tacos during the day and sell them at that factory, babysit and clean houses. She gave up her physical body to try and put a roof over my head. Can you imagine if she would have understood at that time how multiplying money worked in publicly traded companies in the United States of America? And here's what's more important, is that when you become an investor in a publicly traded company, you have the ability to vote. You have voting power. We have no power right now because we are not participating. 0.5% of Latinos are invested in the stock market, and 1.1% of Black folks are invested in the stock market. We need to increase those numbers, and then we can make those changes and hold these people accountable. Right now, as it stands, all the companies that I am invested in, I have the right to question them. What is this story? What is this headline? What is happening in this country? And because I am an investor, by law, they have to answer to me. The problem is that right now, they only have to answer to me.
So good. Okay, then. So here we go. The questions are flowing so quickly that I'm going to take a little bit of time away from what I'm supposed to talk about next to ask a few more. Is that all right with y'all? Okay. I'm going to ask them as fast as I can. And I love, you talked about the fact that it is your acumen in finance that has helped you to be a bridge builder across the aisle with political counterparts. Like what you've done in finance is now translating into politics. Translate that to us as women that are in industries where a lot of times we have to build alliances and work alongside people who think, move, and value things differently.
Learning this space has given me the confidence to answer any type of question that comes my way. Any type of question. This confidence and this conviction that I have was not this strong or this prevalent until I understood the stock market, because I learned that understanding the stock market is understanding the United States of America. And nobody, not one person, can take that away. And my colleagues across the aisle respect it. I have taken the time to learn how this country works, and I practice it and I execute it.
Okay, so did y'all want to drop the mic too? Okay, this is so good. Last question I can ask, because if you don't have the book, what are we going to do?
Get that book.
Okay, so we're going to actually let Linda, after this question, go and be at the book table so she can sign books and talk. Now, y'all remember, she has a flight that leaves today. Okay? Because I know when we get to 11 on people, we don't want to make her miss her flight, okay? So don't be mad at us, or don't be mad at the team if we have to kind of nudge her off so that we can make sure that we can honor that time. Last question is it wise or even okay to invest with friends? Okay, I knew this should be the closing question. Here we go.
Is it wise or is it okay to invest with friends? I'm going to tell you right now, the answer is no. Let me tell you why. We have our own individual money scarcity, money trauma stuff. Your friend might be like, why are you investing in XYZ? And you want to invest in XYZ. It's just, it's even hard to invest with your partner, your husband, your wife. It is a very isolated journey. For me, investing is like looking at myself in the mirror in real time. In real time, I get to see a moving chart and I react to that moving chart emotionally. And I get to calm myself down. And your friend might be like, we gotta sell. Right. We're, just freaking out. And we can't. The answer is no.
So good. All right, y'all. So we're gonna let Linda go and get set up at the book table because I know you have questions. And then we're going to shift into our final two things. But there's still a lot of food. We got a lot of food. So y'all make sure that you eat or take some stuff home.
I do want to say, so sorry. I know. I do want to say that the books today are being provided by a local bookstore. Can we just give it up for Books in the City, please? And so when you're supporting and purchasing books, if you want to purchase books for friends and family, we're not mad at that. You're supporting a local bookstore here in the city, and you're also, while it is published by Hachette, there is an imprint division by a Black woman, Krishan Trotman from Legacy Lit, who's the one that gave me this book deal. And so we're not just supporting me, we're supporting a local bookstore. We're supporting Krishan over at Legacy Lit. And so, yeah, I just wanted to share that. And also, I do have a podcast. It is called Investies. I publish an episode. We have a new episode once a week. Sometimes we have a rerun especially when I was in session, but we're back. And so I would love to have you all listen. If you liked what you listened to today, I would like to keep you updated over on Investies, like Besties, but Investies, where you will get the breakdown of what's happening in the economy on a weekly basis, and then also the stock market.
So good, so good. And I know that there are some, if you want to join her Patreon and you want to, the same way that she had someone catalytically open their portfolio, it's the same thing that she does for people on her Patreon as well. So if you're feeling like, I'm ready, these are the next steps. You don't have to walk this journey alone. Thank you all for that rapid fire of questions. Thank you for the transparency. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you for listening to Investies. I'm your host, Linda Garcia. This is a Cosmic Standard and In Luz We Trust production. A special thank you to the team, Asia Simpson, Eliza Smith, and Jacob Winnick.